What is up, everybody? My name is Pedro. You are listening to the Real Spicy Podcast, where real people give their unqualified, unsolicited opinions about real struggles, real success, while keeping it real spicy. Did you guys see what I just did there? I know it's kind of cheesy, but that's exactly what this podcast, this series is about. Real people. Everyone in life has a story, and I wanted to share that story with people, whether it's 20 people, whether it's 50, fuck it, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people that listen. I just want to share people's story because everyone's success usually started from failure. With me, I have a lots of failure, but because of that failure, I learn from it, and I not only succeeded in my goals, but I superseded in those goals. But today I have an amazing guest that I'm super excited to show everybody, share with everybody their story. A lot of people, when they say I'm going to do something, they just say it. I know I've said that a lot of times. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Do I do it? Most of the time I do, but there are some times where I don't. And I think that's the same thing could be said for everybody. But this person, they did exactly what they said they were going to do. And I'm going to let her share her story. So let's start this. 3, 2, 1.
My name is Tabitha. Thanks for having me, Gil. Really cool idea. I'm born and raised in Vegas. I know Gil because we went to college together, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And known him for the past, how many years now?
When did I start working there? I think I started working there around
I was 2012.
2011, probably 2012.
Yeah, that's a long time. 8 years then. Jeez.
8 years. 8 years have gone by way too quick.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm getting old. I'm over here like I like to pretend that I'm young. Sometimes I do lie by my age. How old are you? Oh, I'm 23, but I'm technically 28, 27.
23 at heart.
23 at heart, but wait, I gotta figure out my age. But I am a lot older than. Luckily, I haven't hit the dirty 30s yet.
Yeah, we're still good.
Yeah, so we're definitely still good. Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to bring this, because my whole podcast idea is about real people with real struggles, real success, giving their input on life while keeping it real spicy. So that's the name of my podcast, the Real Spicy Podcast. And I do know a little bit about your story. It's such an interesting story. Most people say they want to do it and they talk about it, and it just never comes about. You said, fuck it, I'm doing it. Let's go.
Yeah.
So if you want to tell me, because you got to tell me your side of the story. So you went to Australia because you wanted something new, and we're gonna get into that. Most people, they say they want to. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and they don't. You actually did it. What made you go to that decision to just say drop what you're doing? You had an amazing career, because of an amazing education, to just go live life in Australia.
Yeah, it was kind of just like I had graduated from UNLV in 2017, and I started working directly with the company I was interning with, which is a slot machine company. And that was a great job. Like, I learned a lot. It was a good introduction into like the corporate life, you know. I learned a lot of stuff there, but I was kind of just like looking around like, is this what everyone's after? Like, is this, because I always had something to work for, right? Like, you always have the next semester, the next thing that you're working for, your degree. So after I graduated and started working, I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm doing it. I'm adulting, right?
Yeah.
But I was just kind of like bored, and I don't know. I just wasn't like super fulfilled. So I was just like, okay, what do I really want to do? Like, if I want to change anything now, like, now's the time. I was 24 at the time when I left, so I was just kind of, soul searching a bit, I guess. I never went away for college, so I always like stayed in Vegas pretty much, except for the semester I studied abroad. And that really showed me what it was like to live in a different country. So I was like, okay, there's so much out there. Like, I don't have to stay in Vegas. And if I want to do this now, like, now's the time,
Yeah.
before I like get settled or whatever. So I knew that it was really easy to get the working holiday visa in Australia. So basically I just applied for it one day and it was like instantly approved. I started looking at like flights and prices and just kind of watching those for a while.
Mhm.
So one day they like super went on sale, so I just like bought a one-way ticket, kind of spur of the moment, and I was just like, okay. So it was like 6 months out. So it was like December
Yeah.
when I bought the ticket, and it was for June. So I was like, okay, I have 6 months to like plan this. I'm either going to just like make a vacation out of it or just do it. So yeah, as it got closer, I just like started saving up and like researching like working holiday visa Australia because nobody I know has ever done this before. But I
Correct.
know it's really like it's a really common thing.
Yeah.
People from other countries go there all the time. So I'm like, okay, it's gotta be easy enough, right?
Yeah.
Which it was like once you just do it, like you figure it out like little by little, step by step. It kind of seemed like a big, massive project, but once you just have to do like little things at a time and
Okay.
eventually got there. Yeah.
So can you explain what a holiday working visa is compared to a different type of visa that other people may get?
Yeah. So the working holiday visa that Australia offers, it's lots of countries have it available. It allows you to go and actually work and make money there versus just
Mhm.
like a tourist visa, which will just allow you to visit for a few months.
Okay.
So it's very popular for backpackers because you don't really have to have too much money before because you can start working and like making your money there
Mhm.
while you're traveling. So they basically, it's like 6 months is the max you can work at one place, but I don't know a lot of backpackers that stay that long anyway.
Oh,
you
okay.
kind of you stay somewhere for a few months and then maybe travel, do a trip, go somewhere else, start a new job. Like it's kind of flexible, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. You mentioned 6 months. How long were you in Australia from the time that you stepped out of that airplane to the moment that you stepped back onto an airplane back to Vegas?
So it was just under 10 months, probably
Mhm.
around 9.5 months. Yeah, I was planning on staying the full year, but due to COVID-19, I was like, I kind of scared, just kind of came home
Yeah.
because there was,
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I think I
yeah,
definitely wanna build up to it because it is like if you ever look at a mathematical slope, it literally is that. It's a mountain. It slowly goes up, up. There's a pinnacle, and then out of nowhere, it dropped. And it wasn't like a slight drop. It just went down. It got real, and then you had to come. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that because I
yeah.
definitely want to expand on that.
Mhm.
So you said 6 months and then a year.
Yeah.
Is it is the visa up to a year if you pass 6 months? Did you extend it? How does that work?
Yeah. So basically, once you apply for it, I think you have about 3 months to enter the country to like start the visa. And once
Mhm.
you enter the country, like the date that you enter, you have 12 months from that date.
Oh, okay.
Come and go as you please, basically. And a lot of people will extend. Most countries have to do 3 months of farm work or 88 days. So it
Mhm.
just kind of depends. But the US, you could also do hospitality work as long as it's north of the Tropic of Capricorn.
Yeah.
So it's like up
Whoa.
north in Australia, you can work at like a bar or something, and that will count as well.
Whoa. Okay. Well, that's strange. All right. Yeah. With the so when you got there, what were the first couple of weeks or maybe months if they were similar? What was the first thing you're like, I'm in Australia. This is exactly what I'm gonna do. What was it?
So when I first landed, I got to Melbourne, which
Mhm.
I loved. I ended up living there for 4 months. But stayed in Melbourne for 2 weeks at a hostel, and I kind of was just trying to get myself situated. So I opened like my bank account, got like
Mhm.
my SIM card, like all the basic stuff, just to
Yeah.
like be a normal person.
Correct.
And then I went into Happy Travels one day, which is like a travel agency very popular with backpackers,
Uh-huh.
and just kind of asked them like, what are the main things to do? And they said, of course, the East Coast is like one of the most popular things for backpackers to do.
Mhm.
So I got like a Greyhound bus pass that was good for a couple months and basically booked a bunch of tours like all the way up the East Coast between Melbourne and Cairns.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I did all kinds of stuff for the first couple months. I stayed with the host family for a couple weeks, which was really fun, just to like live with a local family. I did a surf camp. I did Fraser Island. Got to like drive the 4x4 on the beach. I stayed on a boat, the sailboat in the Whitsundays for a couple days, which was amazing. I could have stayed on that boat for a week.
Uh-huh.
I did a scuba dive, a skydive, whitewater rafting, like all kinds of like random stuff for the first couple months because I was just living off my savings for a bit. So that was amazing. That was probably still one of the best parts of the whole year.
Okay, having very little worries, very little stress. I think that's what made it definitely fun. So
Yeah.
when you're talking, and this is something that I know a little bit about Australia and their lingo. You said Melbourne. I've been corrected by some Australians. It's Melbourne.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like Melbourne.
Melbourne
They don't
instead
really
of
pronounce their R's like we do. Like we say it very strongly, and
uh-huh.
so it's yeah,
Oh,
it's not Melbourne. It's more like Melbourne.
Melbourne. Okay, yeah. The reason I mentioned that is just like I said, I've been corrected by a few Australians. It
Yeah,
as Melbourne, and they say other things that I've been corrected on, but that's the one that definitely came to mind.
yeah.
With the you kind of living off your savings.
Mhm,
When did you find out they're like, okay, my savings are slowly draining?
mhm.
When did you find a job, or how did you make a living? When did it stop being a vacation and start being more of a day-to-day reality?
Yeah. So the first couple months were just like vacation mode.
Mhm.
Um, when I got up to Cairns and I finished the East Coast, that was kind of where I made my decision. I was like, okay, I can look for work up here in Cairns, which if I would have worked at like a pub or something up there, that would have counted towards my second year.
Mhm.
But I didn't really. I knew I really wanted to live in Melbourne, so I was like, you know what? I don't want to like. Wasn't sure if I wanted to do a second year or not. So I was like, well, I'm only 2 months in. I can always come back up here if I want. I'm gonna go back to Melbourne because I know that's like the city I want to try to live in for a while.
Yeah.
So I went there, and that's really when it got real. When came back there, I went back to the same hostel I was in. Actually, there was still a lot of the same people there,
Yeah.
and just started looking for all kinds of stuff, like all kinds of jobs there. I ended up door knocking, which is like kind of a backpacker rite of passage. Like a lot of people will try it for like a couple days and then be like,
Yeah.
this sucks, and then quit. I did it for about 2 months, which was kind of long, but it made me good money. It made me some, like my best friends from Melbourne are still from that job. So
Okay.
yeah, I did that for a bit, selling electricity, and then I got sick of it. And so I left that. And then I started doing other stuff. I started selling like HelloFresh for a bit, like at the mall, the kiosk. So just like randomness.
Yeah.
And then I
You went
started
back to
working at
college.
what?
You pretty much went back to college jobs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
kind of like backpacker jobs, is like those kind of random things.
Yeah.
And then I started working at the hostel for accommodation, so I didn't have to pay rent or anything. So, and that was really fun because you're like, I went there solo, right? So I had to
Yeah.
like make friends, and hostels are one of the best ways I've made friends traveling.
Okay. Absolutely. With
Yeah.
you mentioned the door knocking. I gotta ask you about that.
Hmm.
How different is it compared to American door knocking? Are people rude? Is it scary? Are there hood areas that well, first of all, are there even hood areas in where you went? Because I know that's a norm here, and not only in the U.S. but also just in Vegas in general.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. They always sent us to like pretty good suburban neighborhoods.
Okay.
So we were all always like in pretty safe spots.
Hmm.
But there's no way I'd want to do door knocking in the US. I think people here are crazy. People there were a lot nicer. There was definitely like rude people at times who would just like slam the door in your face or whatever. And it's like, okay, whatever. Like the longer you do it, the more you can brush that off. And then
Yeah.
the next person, like you walk up and people be like, oh, come in. Do you want some tea? Like whatever. They're just so nice, which I was a bit surprised by. But it was good. It was a good surprise.
Okay. No, definitely. Yeah, I don't think you would ever get anyone trying to give you tea. Maybe
Yeah,
throw it at you, but not
right.
to serve it to you here in the U.S.
Yeah, no. It's different world, different culture.
Yeah, and then you said so you did kiosk jobs, and then what was the and then you did the hostel job. What was the did you have any other jobs besides that?
Yeah, so I did that while I was in Melbourne. My family visited around Christmas, which was like the break
Hmm.
that I had from working. I had like a month after that for just traveling. So I did like Sydney, Cairns, and Melbourne with them specifically for the holidays because my parents were only here a couple weeks.
Okay.
But then my sister stayed another couple weeks after that, and then we did Tasmania for a week. We like rented a camper van and drove all over Tassie, which is really cool.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite spots that we went to. And then after that, my sister left. I was kind of like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm doing because she left in January. So I would have had 5-ish months left at the time. That's what I thought I had. So
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, if I want to get my 3 months for a second year, I have to do that now. So I was looking for work up north, and I ended up finding a job in Dampier, which is up northwest,
Uh-huh.
just south of Broome, if you know where that is. And yeah, I worked at a pub basically. So I was a barmaid, not like a bartender. They call them barmaids.
Barmaids. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the main job. We did random stuff at the hotel as well. So like housekeeping a little bit,
Mhm.
um, helping out in the kitchen a little bit. But the main thing was working at the bar, which was really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So barmaid is bartender,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, same thing.
Okay. So you made drinks.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have
Most
to get
people will just get a
certified?
pint of beer, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you have to get certified in anything? Because I know here in the States, in most industry, well, the industry, you kind of have to be certified. Did you get
Yeah.
any certification, or do you say, I know how to drink, I'm down?
Yeah, so that was kind of the hiring process. I know how to drink, I'm down. But
Really?
yeah, but you did have to get an RSA, which is a responsible service of alcohol.
Okay.
And I just did that online. Like, it took me, I don't know, maybe an hour. You have to like
Okay.
go through this course, and then like you have to record a video of yourself, like refusing someone drinks, and then like send it in, and then they approve it like the next day. So yeah, that was the only like
Wow.
certification like course I had to take. And I
Yeah.
think it was easier for me to get the bar job up north in like the tiny town
Mhm.
because there's not as many people up there. Like it was hard for me to look for those types of jobs when I was down in Melbourne because everyone has experience, and I had never worked in a bar before. So that
Yeah,
was like a new experience for me, which is really fun.
definitely. So you said most of the people drank beer.
Yeah.
What was the most complicated order that you got?
Hmm. This one time this guy asked for like a shot of Malibu, a shot of rum, and a shot of something else with like soda. And I was just like, what? Is he just like making up random shit? But yeah, it wasn't like anything that complicated, honestly. Most people would get like a gin and tonic, or like a skinny bitch was the drink that they called it, which was vodka soda lime. Like,
I love that. I
yeah,
love it how in Australia it's just cussing is a norm in everyday lingo.
yeah, yeah. It's not as big of a deal. It's not as offensive.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind of
know.
refreshing.
I know that a word that I said that we would talk about, which is a great segment, is the word cunt.
Yeah.
I know that here in the United States, when you say that word, especially to like a woman, oh God, you better run.
Yeah, that's
Um,
like the most offensive thing.
it's so offensive. But
Mhm.
over there, it's a norm. Well, not in everyday lingo, but it's a norm like in everyday talk.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
or household talk, with your buddies. Obviously not in the workforce, but it is such a norm. What was that transition like? Because I know certain words are different. I don't know if they called you that, and you not being aware of it. What was your reaction to all that?
Yeah, it was pretty much always in a friendly manner that I saw. Like
Uh-huh.
everyone would be like, if you're working at the bar and you walk
Mhm.
in and the barmaid says, "Oi, cunt, what do you want?" Like that's like your buddies kind of thing.
Yeah,
Or like you'd be like, "Oh, he's a sick cunt." Like that's like a compliment, like he's a good guy type of thing.
yeah.
So, I don't know, it wasn't ever I never really saw it, like, negative. It was always, like, a positive, like, friendly thing, like, "Bro," "mate," like
Yes. It
which
sounds
is
like
fun.
they're just calling each other bro, but instead of bro, it's cunt.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that you can use it in, like, a negative way, but,
Oh, absolutely.
like, I mostly saw it used positively with friends.
That's so incredible to me. Like, I just want to laugh so hard every time because that happened to me at a bar here in Las Vegas, not too long ago, where I he said it and I was like, "What?" And then I'm like, "Is that a norm?" And he's like, "Yeah, we say cunt." And then he just started using it, and the bartender's a cunt. That's, and he kept, I was like, whoa, 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 yo, you can't say that. It's all good, mate. It's all good. I'm like, whoa, whoa. No, it's not good. And he's explaining to me like, no, it's normal. And I'm like, oh, no, not here.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was interesting to me. That's why I kind of mentioned that. And that was such a recent experience to me. Um, and then before we kind of separated our ways, he taught me, I don't know if it's his thing or if it's an Australia thing, but we kind of did a cheers, like in Mexico they do arriba pa abajo, para centro pa dentro, and then they usually they take the shot.
Mhm,
Well, he said never below you, never above you, always beside you, and he
mhm.
slammed the shot. And then I said, oh, that's really cool. He's like, that's what we do in Australia. And I'm like, huh, all right, cool, let me verify. So I'm pretty much coming on this podcast to verify, is that a norm, is that
I
something that
did
is said?
hear that. Yeah, I mostly heard that up in Dampier. That's where I was hanging out with more like locals, I would say.
Uh-huh.
And I heard that like a bit up there as well. Yeah.
Oh, look
It's
at
a cool
that.
phrase. And you like put the drink, like you hit the top, then you hit the bottom, then you hit in the middle when you cheers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think every culture has. I know the Irish, they have something very similar where they, instead of cheers, they say slantan or something similar to that.
Hmm.
Um, but I know in Australia that is the most recent one, which is perfect that you're on here talking about your experience about Australia. So with the seasons, they're
Yeah.
different over there. They're
Yeah.
opposite.
That was so weird getting used to that.
Your family went over there for Christmas in summer. How was that?
Yeah, it was we went to the beach on Christmas Eve and just like watched the sunset. It was it was like a beautiful day out. It was like
Uh-huh.
so weird. But I don't know. There's still a lot of Christmas decorations everywhere, so
Mhm.
that's like still a big thing down there. Um, which, helped get me in the spirit a bit because I was really getting more homesick around like Halloween and Thanksgiving because
Yeah.
that like Halloween's a thing, but it's not as big as it is here.
Yeah.
And then Thanksgiving obviously is just Americans. And I was looking everywhere for like pumpkin flavored desserts and things, which wasn't really as big of a thing. So
Uh-huh.
Christmas when that came around was a nice like homey feeling,
Okay.
even though
So,
it was in summer, it was still felt like pretty much like Christmas.
oh, really? So
Hmm.
we know how Santa is this big fat jolly man, and he's wearing, thick clothes because it's cold.
Hmm.
First of all, is there Santa in Australia? And if so, what does he wear?
Yeah, I saw all kinds of Santas. Some of them were like pretending to be winter, and some of them were in flip flops and like a Hawaiian shirt and like a Santa hat. Like you can take your picture with Santa, summer Santa, at a lot of places, which was
Wow.
pretty funny.
Okay. And I remember you mentioned something about halfway Christmas or
Yeah,
mid-year
Christmas in
Christmas.
July.
Christmas in July. How is
Yeah,
that?
so that was so weird. When I got there in June and I was traveling, I was like, I kept seeing events on Facebook and like signs and things like Christmas in
Mhm.
July celebration. I was like, what? Like, I had never heard of it before. I didn't know it was a thing.
Uh-huh.
But it's because that's their winter. And in all of the movies and everything, it's always winter Christmas. So they kind of have winter Christmas celebrations in July.
Uh-huh.
But obviously, December is like the real Christmas. Like, but I don't know. It was fun. It was a cool experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, Christmas in July. I guess people do miss. I guess Christmas is synonymous with the winter, hence why I
Mhm.
mentioned that.
Yeah. And all the
That's
songs and things, a lot of them are talking about snow, and like that's not really a thing in their December. It's
oh,
like,
okay. Dang, that's so interesting to me. It's the fact that that's a norm over there.
Mhm.
So when it comes to your parents over there, did they have culture shock?
Hmm. I don't think so. It wasn't okay. So the thing about Australia, it's not like that different from the US. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why I chose it also because they speak English. It was like a good first like place for me to go solo. So it wasn't like super huge. The one thing that I kept noticing I was doing is here in the US you drive on the right side of the road, and if you like
Correct.
walking on the sidewalk you walk on the right.
Yeah.
But there it's on the left. And I kept walking down the sidewalk and like running into people. I'm like, what the hell? And then I'm like, oh my God, everyone's walking on the left. I need to like get used to walking on the left
Oh,
instead of
it's
the
kind of like
right.
Europe.
Yeah, well, yeah, some places, yeah. So that was probably one of the bigger things, just like in regular everyday life, like getting used to being on the left instead. But there isn't anything like super shocking for them, I don't think. Just like they were loving all the Australian accents, and like
Oh, of
everything
course.
was so much cuter for them. I'm
Oh,
like,
of
okay, yeah,
course.
I've been here a while, I'm used to it now, that's normal for me. But it's just those little things, I'd say.
Okay, what did you do anything that would certify you like, yeah, I'm pretty Australian now? Like a cricket game, or did you see a koala? Or kangaroo? Anything
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, I saw a ton of koalas and kangaroos.
Uh-huh.
Kangaroos are everywhere. I mean, not
Really?
really, they're not like in the city, but like if you're outside just a little bit, you'll
Hmm.
see them around. I saw a ton when I was over in Dampier with like all of the red rocks and everything. They're just, I would look out my window and see kangaroos. Like that was really cool. Koalas are a bit harder to come by because they're, endangered, but I did see like a few out in the wild, which was, better. It just feels better when you see them out in the wild versus
Uh-huh.
like at a zoo or something.
Oh, okay.
Also, wombats are adorable. If you ever see any of those, they're just like little teddy bear, like wobbling around. Those were really cool. Um, yeah, I mean, I went to the zoo and saw like everything there, but
Yeah.
I saw some crocodiles in the wild. That was really cool. Did like a little river boat tour.
Yeah.
You would like they were just sunbathing, and I'm like, there's no way that's real. I'm like, that must be fake, like for tourists. But no, they're just sitting there and they're like barely move.
Are
And
they
they're
big?
huge. Yeah, I saw like huge ones that were like really old. I saw a couple like tiny like baby ones.
Mhm.
So
Are they protected? Are they like a protected animal species?
I don't know. It's a good
No.
question.
How
Maybe.
about how about kangaroos?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. People eat kangaroo. I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah,
would
you're
assume they're
right.
kind of like deer. I'm guessing. But
You
I
had
don't really know
kangaroo.
them.
I forgot about that. How was that?
Yeah, it was in the grocery store, like in the meat section. And we like cooked it up in the hostel, like a group of us. So it was pretty good actually. Kind of just I haven't had deer, but I hear it tastes similar to deer.
Okay, cool. No, I can imagine that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very muscular. It's
Mhm.
not a very fatty animal. Yeah. Any crazy stories that you had while in Australia? Obviously, I kind of said by yourself because you went by yourself to Australia, but you also had your parents there, and then with friends that you met over there.
Ah, I should have put more thought into like crazy stories. Nothing really like of course going out. I went out a lot in Melbourne like
Uh-huh. Well,
that's
duh,
kind of
you got to go
the
out.
thing like yeah. And there was a bar in the hostel, so you just walk downstairs to the bar and you can
Uh-huh.
always find people there, go out, go to all the clubs. Um, hmm. I went nothing like crazy, crazy, crazy. I guess just like getting really drunk, I guess, is the craziest. Or like the skydiving was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The scariest part about skydiving is when you're sitting in the plane and the door is open and you see other people start to jump. So you
Mhm.
hear like a whoosh, and then they're gone. And I was like the fifth person to go out. So I was just sitting in this plane, like, you can see how high up we are. And then I see like couples of like the people just jumping out with that sound. And I was freaking out a little bit, but I was like, well, there's nothing I can do now. It's all up to the guy that's like controlling it. I just have to sit back and just like trust him. And then the
So
initial fall was like the hardest. And then once you're going, you're gliding, like it's gorgeous views. I did it up in Mission Beach, which was where the rainforest and the Great Barrier Reef meet, so you can
mhm.
get like amazing views, like
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Talking about the Great Barrier Reef, did you get to see it, touch it, or at least be around it?
Yeah, so I did a scuba dive. I did a couple,
Hmm.
which I loved. I fell in love with. Now I want to get certified. It's like my next, maybe my next thing when I go traveling. But
Okay.
I did it first by myself when I was doing the East Coast,
Hmm.
and then I did it again with my parents. But mom and my sister were kind of scared, so it was mostly me and my dad doing it. But you're not allowed to touch it. You can just go down and like look at things and see them swim. You can like if you see a clam or something, you can like wave the water and then it'll like slowly close. So like that's kind of a cool thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, it was just gorgeous. Like it's a whole new world, and obviously you can't talk or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just down there like looking around for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, and just like it's so peaceful, it's so colorful. I wish I would have seen a shark down there while I was doing it. I didn't.
Oh, that would have been cool. Even a small one, a hammerhead or anything.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Coral reef, that's poisonous rock, isn't it? It's
I
like
think some of them are. I think some of them are.
okay,
I
cool.
don't know. We were just told don't touch anything because it takes years for that to grow. So if you touch it and it gets damaged or broken off, it'll take years to come back, and it's already, having trouble. It's not as vibrant as it once was.
Yeah. So you said that you skydive and you saw the coral reef and then the forest.
The
You were
rainforest.
the rainforest. You were there during the whole here in America. We kept hearing, and I don't know how it was or how bad it was, but we kept hearing about how really bad it was. Half of Australia is almost gone. Everyone in their houses are burning up. And, sometimes you don't know what to believe here. And I say that from experience just because I travel to Mexico quite a bit. And I hear the news of what the media portrays here.
Yep.
From Mexico. I'm like, I was just there last week. That was
Yeah.
never an issue. I even had when I was in Mexico, I had someone call me, "Hey Gil, I heard there's a riot at the border. Are you okay? I know you're coming back today." I'm like, "Oh, you're talking about the people at the park? Yeah, they're not rioting. They're just sleeping there." Oh, oh, okay. And that was the big riot. So how was it over there during the whole forest fires? How big was it?
Yeah. So I was mostly down in Melbourne at the time,
Mhm.
which it wasn't in the city, so I didn't really see it. I would mostly see cloudy skies, like you can kind of tell if it's smoke like in the sky, and that lasted for a while. When I was down in Tassie with my sister for that week, we saw some down there as well in the sky, and there was some bushfires down there as well. But when we went to like the tourist information desk, they were just like, "Okay, don't go to this area. Like, avoid this area." And we're like, "Okay." So we just like we didn't want to get close to it. I never saw like flames in my face,
Yeah.
but of course it was all over the news there as well. So we could see like so many areas getting destroyed, so many homes getting destroyed. I knew some people whose like family homes were like destroyed. So yeah, it was still a huge thing.
Yeah.
Just I didn't see it like that much myself, but I know it was devastating in some areas for sure.
Whoa. Okay. No, that's crazy. More than I would have assumed. Did you know anyone that was affected by that
Yeah, well,
or
like one of
heard
my
of someone?
friends, yeah, one of my coworkers and friends up in Dampier, her family home had burned down in New South Wales, which was
Okay.
yeah. So, and the host family that I stayed with, and it was near Coffs Harbour,
Hmm.
which is in New South Wales, and they were like the schools were closed for them for a bit. Like I was talking to them, like, "Is everything okay over there?" Because that's like where it mainly was,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, we're just staying home. Like we can see the smoke in the sky, and the schools are closed." Basically, that lasted for a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah, that was the most
Was
I
it
heard.
to the huge level that the media portrayed it here?
I don't know how bad it sounded here. Everyone was texting me and messaging me like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, in regular life for me." But yeah, for some areas it was bad. But I
Okay.
mean, not the whole continent, just some areas.
Oh, see, that's what I heard. It was obviously not the whole continent, but it was a huge percentage of the continent being greatly affected, and that was keywords: greatly, massively, extremely affected.
I think
And
yeah, it for sure was.
uh-huh.
I just didn't see that much like in my face.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because the way it was explained here, like everything's on fire. And
Yeah.
then you see
Yeah.
that video of a koala,
I
being
know.
rescued who's like half burned and then it died like a week
Oh,
later. And
it
that,
is so sad.
I know, and they're so innocent because they're just so lazy.
Yeah, it's because they eat eucalyptus and there's like no nutrients in it. So they sleep like most of their lives.
Yeah, I
That was
mean,
a fun fact I learned.
they eat a lot of eucalyptus.
Yeah, they like live in eucalyptus trees, and I think they were saying that koalas sleep so much because eucalyptus is like no low in nutrients, so they don't really have the energy to do much, so they
Uh-huh.
just eat and then fall asleep most of the time.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not too bad. I mean, they move a little bit quicker than a sloth, I believe.
I don't know,
They're very
probably.
probably
I've never seen a
probably.
sloth in person.
Oh, yeah, I've only seen a koala from afar at the San Diego Zoo, and I don't know if I've seen a sloth. I think the only sloth has been like on TV,
Hmm.
and it was all because it was promotion for Ice Age.
Yeah,
That's the only
that's
reason.
kind of fun. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure they've done tests. Which ones move faster, sloth or koala?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. With the uh Australia, they love cricket. Is that a thing, or is that something that is like a stereotype?
No, it's a thing. We went, I think it's very slow, and I've never watched cricket before, so I
Uh huh.
wasn't super interested. But because it was such a big thing, my family went to a cricket game on Boxing Day, which is
Hmm.
the day after Christmas, which I
Okay.
know we don't celebrate in the US really. Maybe
Mhm.
some people do, but it's not a big thing. So yeah, we went to the Melbourne Cricket Ground Boxing Day for the game, and it was, you know, huge stadium. Um, but I was pretty hungover too. I wasn't that interested. I was just like, oh, okay, I get it. This is kind of
Just
cool. I've seen it on
give me some
like,
water. Give me
yeah,
some
yeah.
water.
It was one of those days, but um, definitely cool to see. And like people were so into it, that was more interesting watching the people be so into it versus like the game itself to me.
Yeah.
Because I went to like a rugby game and I went to an AFL game, and people are like so passionate about their sports over there, which was like the fun part about being at the game is the crowd.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I think every country has their passion about sports. You know, here in America, obviously it's football or baseball. I think those two are very, very popular.
yeah.
Um, but I'm very involved in the soccer community. And I've traveled to Mexico for soccer, and oh my God, they go crazy in the stands. I sometimes it's even more fun to be in the stands than to actually watch the game. There was a couple of times where I've traveled to a game in Mexico, and people ask me, "How was the game?" I don't know who won, but yo, let me tell you about what we did. It's always like smoke bombs, drums, and then people just going crazy.
Mhm.
And I can imagine that's that's either rugby or cricket over there in Australia.
Yeah, yeah, it was so fun. We had like, everyone's doing the wave, everyone's like yelling, and it's amazing. That's why I love going to like live games. It's way more fun. Or if you're at a pub that everyone's watching, like that's really fun too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So now we get to kind of the nitty gritty of you're here ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
How many months ahead of schedule?
About a couple months, like two-ish, 2.5. Yeah.
2.5. For some, it'll be obvious. All right, we know why she moved, but how was that, and why did you move so abruptly? And like, I just have so many questions. Like from the start, when did you were like, I have to go back now?
Yeah. So I was basically trying to just keep working at that the Dampier Mermaid up in
Yeah.
Dampier. And I was like, okay, it's getting bad in the US, like it's bad a lot of other places, but like over here I was in a pretty small town up near the coast. It wasn't a big city. So I was like, okay, I feel like safer over here anyway. Like I probably have more of a chance getting it if I go home.
Yeah.
And I was still working, so I was like, there's not really a reason for me to rush home. I'm just gonna stay here and try to work as long as I can. And then even the week before I came home, we had a team meeting with everyone. They were like, okay, like, yeah, this is a thing. Like, the hours might go down a little bit, but like, we are pretty protected over here. We were near a bunch of like mines, and the iron ore industry was big up there. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of workers staying at the hotel and like coming into the pub.
Mhm.
So they're like, as long as the iron ore industry is still going on, like, we should be fine because that's the main people that come to the pub. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like, I think we'll be fine. Like, even if I go down a little bit in hours, like, that's not a big deal. I'll just stay here and work while I can.
Yeah.
And then literally a week later, the government made them close all of the bars and restaurants. And that was the deciding factor, because once that happened, um, like, most of us didn't have work anymore. So we the day I was told that, like, basically you're laid off, I was like, okay, I think I have to just go home now, because I was like scared enough trying to find another job in
Hmm.
this time when everything's closed. And I was like, well, maybe I could work at a farm, but I was like, I don't even really want to do that. Like, I'm scared they're closing borders. Like, what if I can't get home
Yeah.
in like a month or two? So I don't know. I was just kind of too scared. I was talking to my parents. They were like, "Come home! Like, it's getting crazy."
Uh-huh.
So I did. I just booked a flight for like 2 days later. It was pretty expensive, but I was like, "Okay, that I just have to do it." I only saw like a few flights available anyway, so
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, I have to kind of hurry up," because I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll go back down to Melbourne and like hang out with my friends for a bit down there, and then maybe go home." And then I was like, there's not a lot of flights. Like, if I like hang around too long, I'm gonna be stuck and not have a job. So I would just be slowly going broke. So it just didn't make sense, like,
Yeah. Very true.
financially or anything. So, and I only had a couple months left. So I'm like, okay, I still had like an amazing time here. It's not like I just got here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ultimately just was like, okay, I'll just book this flight and just get home, and then I can
And
wait it out here.
that was 2 days after you were laid off, correct?
Yeah, so I was laid off on a Monday, and Tuesday I bought the tickets for Thursday. So
Holy.
within like a few days, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be home next, like, in a couple days,"
Yeah.
which was insane to me, because like the week before, I was literally like, "Oh, we'll be fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'll even if I go down in hours, like, it's okay. Like, I'll be okay."
I can beat this. I'll be
Yeah, I
fine.
was like, as
Yeah.
long as I can like make a little money and like, last and wait this out, like maybe in a few weeks. And my cousin was going to come visit me in May.
Uh-huh.
So it's funny because a couple weeks before I came home, I was talking to her on the phone and we're like, oh man, yeah, this is getting kind of bad. But I was like, that's still a couple months away. It might be fine by then.
Yeah.
And then it just like, escalated so quickly. And
Definitely.
yeah, that was
What
the
was
scary
it
thing.
scary going through the airports? Because I know that one of the biggest areas to be hit the hardest was obviously medical centers, but then the airports, because
Mhm.
everyone's so afraid now to travel.
Yeah. So that was a bit scary.
Uh-huh.
Like, you walk in to go through security and everyone is wearing a mask. So you're just like, okay, like, you guys are protected, but like I didn't have a mask.
Yeah.
I had some gloves. But yeah, I was just trying to like keep my distance. It was nice, the shorter flights. I had to fly. I had to like fly for almost 2 days. It took forever to get home. So I had to go from Karratha to Perth to Sydney to LA to Vegas. So I went through 5 airports, which was
Oh my God.
like
Yeah.
crazy. And the smaller flights, the domestic ones, the flights are pretty empty. The airports
Yeah.
are pretty empty, which was like made me feel a bit better. But my long one from Sydney to LAX was pretty packed because it was Qantas, and they announced on the plane, they were like, this will be our last Qantas flight to the US until further notice. And I was just like, whoa, like, good thing I got this ticket home, because I
Yeah.
don't know when I would have been able to get home. But yeah, I guess most people were keeping their distance, like washing their hands and stuff. So that was, people were taking it pretty seriously in the airports, which was
Good.
good. Yeah.
Good. Definitely. Holy moly. I'm telling you, I like right when I started this interview, I said it is like a mathematical. I'm such a nerd for even bringing math, but it's like a slope. It's like a mountain, where you have your peak is like I'm having a great time in Australia. Slowly, oh, things are slowing down. I'm getting accustomed, and then out of nowhere, oh shit, I got to go home
Right, right.
now.
Yeah, it was abrupt, which was like, it was like, it made me a bit upset because I'm like, oh man, like, I was gonna I was working up at that pub so I could get my second year. I
Yeah.
only had like a month left of work to get my 88 days done.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but at least I'm like, I have my health, and
Absolutely.
I'm with my family now. Like it's a lot worse for a lot of people. So
Oh,
count
absolutely.
my
No,
blessings.
I totally agree with you on that. So I don't want to end on a bad not a bad note, but like a sad note, like
Yeah,
I'm home, I haven't died, but other people are dying. No.
yeah, yeah.
So I wanna right now kind of mentioned Mexico, this and that. I'm well, first of all, I'm Hispanic, and I travel there quite a bit. But there is a social media trend going on, or it's been going on for quite a bit, and it's a challenge. We're not going to do the entire challenge. We're only going to do. We're going to rapid fire through these questions, about 20 of them within as fast as possible. Okay.
No, not
Um,
ready. What's the challenge? What are the questions?
so the challenge is, remember, we're not going to do the whole challenge because it takes a while and it's quick. So the challenge is, right now in Mexico, there's a list of 100 questions, and the challenge is to pretty much answer them in 5 minutes. It's just
Okay.
like a social media trend that a lot of Mexican celebrities are doing. And I saw
Mhm.
this and I'm like, let me take this and implement it
Good
into my
idea.
podcast. So instead of copying and pasting it in Spanish, I was like, you know what, I'm too lazy. So I just copy and pasted it into Google Translate because they're in Spanish. And then I'm like, I could have easily translated them, but I'm too lazy to do this. So
Yeah.
Google translated it. If I stumble, my apologies. But we're gonna start. We're gonna go for about 19 to 20 questions. If there's a question that needs more explanation or I want to know more, we'll stop it. We'll expand for about a minute and then we'll keep going. All right.
Can I pass if I don't know the answer? Is it
Yes.
like
Next.
trivia?
Yep. We'll go next. Next. So even whatever comes to mind, you go. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
Perfect. Favorite hobby?
Reading.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
No.
What is your favorite food?
Mexican.
I love that. Favorite season of the year?
Fall.
Favorite fast food?
In and out.
Would you like to have a superpower?
Teleportation.
Teleportation. Oh, why? Where would you
'Cause
go?
I
What
could,
would be the first thing that you would do with that power?
you could be anywhere and live anywhere and work anywhere. Like it's endless. So you can do so much with it. So
What
it's
would
like,
be right now? Obviously, if it wasn't for COVID, where would you go right now with
ooh,
those powers?
if it wasn't for COVID, if
Yeah.
it was COVID-free world,
Yes.
I'd probably go back to Spain. I've missed it. It's been a while.
Okay. Spain. All right. Would you travel to the future or past?
Future.
Dogs or cat?
Dogs.
If you had a lot of money, would you save it or spend it?
Spend it.
Hell yeah. That's why you went to Australia.
Yeah.
Do you play any instruments?
No.
Dance or sing?
Dance.
Beach or forest?
Beach.
Um, oh, this one's interesting. I'm just reading it. Have you kissed more than one person on the same day?
Yes.
Would you what do you like most about no. What is your some of these are being repeated. I'm telling you, Google Translate did a horrible job on
Yeah,
these.
it's not the best.
His not, I should have just translated them. I should have just kept them in Spanish and just translated them in my head. But then I would have had a lot of like on camera, I was like, Gil is either thinking too much or not thinking at all. And my
Yeah.
face, yeah. Um, no, we're not gonna. Describe yourself in one word.
Oh God. um, Curious.
At what age did you? Nope. How many children would you like to have?
Two.
Favorite drink?
Wine.
Ooh, which wine? Which type of wine?
My go-to is probably a soft blanc.
Oh,
But
you bougie. Okay.
but I've been open. I've been trying a lot of different wines, and obviously, when my parents love wine, so when they
Okay.
came to Australia, we went to a lot of wineries and stuff as well.
Okay. Favorite music genre?
Mm, pop, I guess. I don't know. It's something that kind of a little bit of everything.
Okay. Your greatest fear.
Probably dying unfulfilled.
Ooh, that's deep. Romantic or horror movies?
Depends on my mood. Probably,
Oh.
I like both.
Famous celebrity crush.
Ryan Reynolds.
Wow. Favorite color.
Blue.
Uh, w- would you change something about the past? About your past?
No.
No regrets. Love it. Uh, uh, no. All right, cool. And then one more. Do you get angry easily?
No. I'm
No.
pretty chill, pretty easygoing.
Okay,
I think
cool.
it's good for traveling, meeting people.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. So that was it. We went roughly a little bit more than 20. Some of these were like, I'm like, I don't think I want to ask those questions. Some of them were like very sexual. I'm like, yeah, my podcast isn't about that. I just want to
Yeah, yeah.
know,
Is that
you
for
know,
the after podcast?
the after podcast. I thought about having an after podcast, and because my podcast name is called Real Spicy. I was like, what if I call it Extra Spicy? Extra content
Oh,
after
that's
the
funny.
yeah after the podcast itself. But yo, there is a lot to learn from like your experience. Is the fact that you dropped it all, you made a decision, you fulfilled it, you
Hmm.
went, you lived your best. When people say I'm just here living my best life, I'm at the club. You said, fuck the club. I'm going to Australia. That is incredible because people our age, especially here in Vegas, their best life is what? Going out, going to the club, bottle service, table service by the DJ. Cool, that's cool and all, but
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to have you on here because something that I love to do is travel. I mean, I've been extremely blessed to travel, just like you. You went to study abroad. I didn't do study abroad, but I did all my traveling once I got a job, graduated college, and I was able to afford it. So just like you,
Yeah.
I traveling is I highly recommend it. So before we end this, what is one country? This is not part of it, but what is one country that you have not been to that you've been wanting to go?
New Zealand. I was so close. I
New
wanted
Zealand,
to do.
it's like literally right,
I know, I was so close.
right there.
That was probably like the next place I was gonna try to go, and then I really wanted to do Asia. So
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted to like come home in June for a couple months and then go back, do like a whole Asia trip, and then go do back to Australia. That was like my plan. But
Uh-huh.
now I don't know what's gonna happen. Basically, I've only been to places that are like a bit more similar to the US, I would
Uh-huh.
say. I've been a lot around Europe and Australia. So I really want to try something that's like very different now. I've done like more of the safe places, I guess. Like
Yeah.
first time, like if you're going for the first time traveling, you'd go to like certain places. I've done those. Now I really want to try something really different.
Outside of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah, I really want to go to South America. I want to go everywhere, basically. My goal right now, I'm 25. My
Uh-huh.
life goal right now is 30 countries by 30.
Holy
And I
crap.
think I'm
Okay.
at 18, which is decent, but not where I want to be.
Wow. Rapid fire. What are they?
Yeah.
You don't have to know them all. Just as much as you can come up with. What are they? What are the countries that you've traveled
That
already
I've
to?
been to.
Yeah.
Actually, I have them all on this app on my phone.
Oh my.
It's called Bin.
Uh-huh.
Australia, Czech Republic, Denmark, England, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Liechtenstein, Spain, Switzerland, the Netherlands, the Vatican. I guess it's its own country
Yep.
apparently.
Vatican City. Yep.
Um, Cuba, Haiti, Jamaica, Mexico, U.S., and Australia. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. You're definitely a world traveler. Um,
Yeah.
wow, I can't believe it.
Just learn so much more that way, and it's not as big of a priority for a lot of Americans, I've realized.
Mhm.
Especially after going to Australia. Like it's so normal for people in Europe to come do a year there, and like people from all over. And I'm like, why isn't it like more of a normal thing? Because when I was doing it here, people were like, why are you gonna do that? So you have a good job. What are you doing? And I'm like, well, it's what I want to do right now, and I have the rest of my life to work at a big company. So
That's right. Yes, you go, girl. No, but I love it. Oh, that's incredible. So I think that's where we're gonna end it. I'll pretty much I'll just end it really quick. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I don't know if you have any social media you want to plug. Like I said, I don't know who's gonna be listening to this, but if you want to plug anything in, this is your opportunity.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram just at Tabitha Engle. Engle is my last name. So
Awesome.
there it is.
Easy stuff. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Real Spicy podcast. If you guys can do us a favor and give us a like on Instagram at Real Spicy Podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. I would really appreciate that. And then to listen to our podcast, you can listen to any major services where you listen to podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. The list goes on. Again, thank you so much for watching. On that, I'm out.